A seed which contains the perfect island for the Mistlands update. Does it exist? Well, last time I went on a quest to find an island with all 6 biomes for the ultimate main base. It took me literally days to find it, and I did, but it seemed impossible to also have both Trader as well as Tetra fish on it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've done it again, as I found probably the best seed and only world you will ever need. As out of hundreds of worlds generated, this one literally has everything you would want for a nice headquarters, farms and epic adventures ahead. Long story short, a perfect-sized island with all 6 finished biomes, including the Mistlands, a trader in the middle of the island, as well as the legendary Tetra fish ice cave on it. Around it, so much more to explore, including all boss locations just around the corner, so without further ado, let's check it out. Before we get started, I want to quickly thank all channel members for supporting my cause and make these videos possible. I also want to thank everyone for all positive feedback on my previous seed video, and you guessed it, reason for the delay on this one is because it simply took me an immense amount of time to first find, then document and also edit this video. So it would be very much appreciated if you can leave a like and share your thoughts about it in the comments. Cheers! So, let's start off with the Spawn Island, where you basically begin your adventures on this world. What I really like about it is that it's pretty small, so you don't have to spend a lot of time exploring every nook and cranny, but it's full of beautiful surprises, as it comes with many different useful runestones, so you can farm all the boars you will ever need, and here and there you will find a nice lake with the ideal bay for the first starting base. There are plenty of resources on this island, so you can prepare for a journey to a next island with even more biomes. But what I really like about this one is that it's gonna become very easy to travel to the northeast, south or west if you decide to build a headquarters on the coordinates 00 or spawn. And if you travel a little bit to the northeast, this is where you will find a beautiful island with both Meadows and Black Forest, which is very small. And what's really nice about it is that once again you will find plenty of rivers running through it, so it could be the ideal fishing retreat, as not only will you find water right here, but also the trader. In relation to the starting island, it's not far away at all, so it's gonna be ideal if you want to have the trader very close to the spawn. But before you decide on this, ladies and gentlemen, there will also be a trader location on the island, which we're gonna visit right now. Funny thing is, I think this island looks a little bit like a monk shooting fireballs, let's say, which I think suits very well with the Mistlands update. Looks like a face with a monk cap, don't you think? Before you even set foot on the island though, it's very interesting to know that you can actually beat all different bosses in a very nice circle around it, as Elder, Bone Moss, Moder Gluth as well as the Queen spawn very close from home. You don't have to worry about Kraken Islands or Leviathans either, as I found a pretty nice cluster right here, which basically provides you with all the chitin you will ever need. So, once you've made your way to the Treasure Island, one of the first biomes you will come across is this beautiful Meadows Bay. It's basically a river that runs through the island, which gives you so many different base building possibilities, as right here you not only have a Draugr village with a possible entrail farm location, as well as different beehives. Also a nice place, which I used for my previous videos, if you haven't seen it yet, for a nice portal hub. Not only is this Meadows Island big enough for all your needs, but it also grants access to all the different biomes which you're gonna need for the early game. The Black Forest and mountains, which you can see in the distance, are going to be ideal for different resources, while in the Black Forest itself, you can also find the trader, which we're going to talk about in a second. But the southeastern part of the Meadows, on the other side of the river, basically connects with a plains, which has the perfect connection for the ideal farm. So you can basically plant all the different crops and vegetables you're going to need to prepare for the Mistlands. What's pretty rare to find in one of these biomes very close to the Mistlands area is a boar rune, which you can find a little bit to the northeast of this very Meadows. While in the northwest we have a mountain, so it's gonna be no problemo to set up a boar and wolf farm in no time very close to your HQ. Now, if we move to the southeastern part of the island, where the meadows and plains connect, they are basically surrounded by swamp, and this is the ideal place to set up farms of different kinds, as these nasty shallow waters are filled with multi-spawners for both draugrs, skeletons. Right here you can even find two right next to each other, which is gonna have the ultimate yield. But multiple Surtling geysers right next to the water, that is just ideal to get even more cores. You will also come across sunken crypts every now and then, but these can most commonly be found on the western part of the island. Anyways, let's move on to the Black Forest, which is also right next to the Meadows, but I just got lost a little bit at the swamp because there's just so much to do right here. On one side of the island you will find a very thin border with the Black Forest and plains as well as the mountains, which could be ideal to get different resources quickly. And of course you will also come across plenty of burial chambers and outposts in this biome, so if you are not yet ready for the swamp you will get your hands on all the Surtling cores in this biome as well. The troll which wandered off earlier probably came from this cave, while there are plenty more points of interest in this forest, including the trader. Some parts of the Black Forest have a beautiful connection with the mountains, which we're gonna check out right now, as there are actually 3 different ones on this island, and one of them contains the Tetra cave. In the northern part of the island, by the way, you can find another beautiful Black Forest. I think this one is even more beautiful, but I'm not gonna spoil it with you guys, you just have to check it out yourselves. On this island you will find 3 different mountain peaks, all of them pretty small, yet big enough to house dragons and wolves, and here and there you will also find some nests, as well as ice caves. On the first mountaintop you will probably find most dragon nests and wolves, while on the second one, ladies and gentlemen, you can find the Tetra fish ice cave, which is extremely rare in the game. Only 1 up to 2 can spawn every entire seed. And the cool thing is, when you enter this place, only a little bit to the right, you will find this small pond right off the bat, and these little fellas are pretty jumpy, so you probably won't even need a fishing rod to catch them. I am super happy about the fact that I also found a Tetra cave on this island, as they are so extremely rare, and if you want to know how rare, you can always check out my video in the top right of the screen, in which I share my adventure on how I managed to find them the first time. Anyways, the third mountain peak is probably the biggest, but I also find this one the least interesting, while the environment is, as it's basically shrouded and surrounded by the Mistlands. Before we move over to the Mistlands though, I first quickly want to talk a little bit about the plains, as this biome actually covers the majority of the island. What I really like about it is that you will find many fueling camps here, as well as tar pits. This fueling camp in particular is a nice one, as it's central on the map, but also right next to a tar pit, which means these boys will be in combat 24/7. These plains coordinates are also the ones which I use for my tar pit farm build, which you can find in the top right of the screen, as right here you can just find so many different ones. Gonna be very easy to connect them, so you can harvest all those resources. A little bit to the shore you will find another tar pit, by the way, right next to a fueling camp towards the east. Like I already mentioned, there are plenty on this island, so you don't have to worry about not having enough of them. In the southeastern part of the island, pretty close to the Meadows, by the way, you will find this fueling camp on which you can find both flax and barley, so you'll be able to get your hands on both crops in no time. And ooh, that berserker at the distance right there next to the water, is that a 1 or 2 star? Damn boy, that's a big fella right there. Now, for the Mistlands, I want to be a little bit secretive about this biome, as I just think you should check it out yourselves. There is just so much cool stuff to find right there, but I want to talk a little bit about the highlights, as these are pretty important for farming, for exploration, let's say. So the most important one for me personally, the first one which I wanted to check out, I wanted to have the perfect farming conditions for all the different vegetables and crops in the game, and also be able to plant dvergir extractors. And this is basically what it looks like. So it's big enough to house all the new Mistlands veggies, while the plains is just humongous. So yeah, you can go ham on this one. I also want to talk a little bit about the Anglerfish Bay towards the west of the island, as I usually only come across pufferfish, while in this area it seems that they spawn a lot more often. It also looks a little bit like an anglerfish on the map in my opinion, so I think the name serves it well. But yeah, this would be the ideal place to farm for fish and bread if you are also lucky to find them right here. If you're not a big fan of the wisp light or mist in general, I've got another beautiful location for you, which I basically call the No Mist Lands, as it's a huge area without any fog covering the place, and in the very center of it you will find a small island on which you can find your very first infested mine. Once you've taken down the guards in front of it, you will find plenty of treasure inside, including some black ores, which are gonna be very useful. Around the mine, you will find plenty more patches of land, which are going to be ideal for both fishing and rabbit hunting, while here and there you will also find some dvergate structures, which you can tear down for marble, and a little bit to the north of the mine you can also find a dwarven fortress, where you can secure your very first extractor. What's really nice about this place is that it's very accessible by sea, so you'll be able to sail from the Meadows to this very place without having to deal with the fog. Of course, once you decide to brave the mist, there will be plenty more points of interest waiting for you. More dvergate encampments, treasure, resources, as well as more open places on this island. What I also really like is that to the north, east and west of this island you will find plenty more Mistlands once you've finished exploring your very own island. I already visit a couple of these places and I can tell you, there is so much to explore. To the east you will find a massive Mistlands biome with a mountaintop in the very center, which you could use to glide down, visit all the different locations, as right here you will find plenty more infested mines, dvergate excavation sites, as well as fortresses, while in the north there is another beautiful no Mistlands area, let's say, with many different smaller islands with a lot of treasure as well. So, there you have it, a seed with the perfect island, I would say, which contains everything you need for an entire Valheim Mistlands playthrough. You'll have all the biomes on a decent sized island with a beautiful meadows for a settlement, easy access to everything around it, all spawners, great farm locations, the trader, as well as the legendary Tetra fish ice cave right behind the corner. I think I gave you all the information you need to start an epic new adventure. But if you're still in need of a server for multiplayer, by the way, I've got a nice discount for you in the top right of the screen. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the seed and island in the comments down below. Now, go out there, set sail for the Paradise Island, and don't forget to share your findings and coordinates in the comments, as I can't wait to see what more this world has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, a big thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to support the channel, and of course, stay in the loop with future videos. Right now though, it is 4 AM out. I want to wish you an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Peace.